Hey guys, so this week I've been playing Resident Evil 6, which if you don't know is a game about zombies and shooting them. The games have always been kind of a survival horror, you know, oh, what's around this corner, is there zombies everywhere, oh god, what's gonna happen? But this game is sort of more of a, zombies, kill them all, da, 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 da. But is that a good direction for this game? Has the game, like, sort of abandoned its survival horror roots, or is it, you know, moved on to something that's more fun? Well, here's my opinion of Resident Evil 6.
Resident Evil 6 is the next game in a series that's kind of struggled to find its place in this generation of gaming. The series has always tried to be about fear and, isolation and, oh god, what's around that corner? But the way it's accomplished that in the past is terrible camera angles and lack of direction and all this stuff that we kind of forgave back in the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 days, but nowadays we don't forgive that so much. It's also always been a series about disempowerment. You're always like one misstep away from dying and having to replay like an hour of the game. But nowadays, gamers don't really go for the whole disempowerment thing. They want power fantasies. They want to be the baddest, awesome zombie killer space monster destroyer ever. And if their character dies, completely, not for their fault, it has to be something wrong with the game that killed them because they're awesome. There has to be a checkpoint that was like 3 seconds back, so no lag time, just kill more, whatever the things are. And unfortunately for us, instead of trying to stick with their roots and go with a tried and true method and, just play to their audience. Maybe it's not a big audience, but play to the audience that they've developed over the years. Over the years, Capcom has essentially turned Resident Evil into an awesome action movie. Well, kind of a bad parody of an action movie, which is, apropos because Resident Evil has always been a bad parody of zombie movies. This time around, instead of following the exploits of one set of characters, you're actually following 3 separate campaigns. All of which are kind of happening at the same time and cross over at certain points, but for the most part can be played independent of each other. Unless you actually want to know what's happening, then you should probably play them all. The first campaign follows the exploits of Leon Kennedy and his new partner, Helena. And one of the really interesting things about this campaign is it's probably the most traditional Resident Evil campaign. Leon gets to fight slightly more traditional zombies that, brains and all that kind of stuff. And like a traditional Resident Evil game, there's puzzles strewn all about the campaign, but they're pretty simple, so they don't take much to get through. The second campaign follows Chris Redfield, who, since the events of Resident Evil 5, has become like this lecherous drunk for some reason. I mean, seriously, Chris, what happened to you? Like, the last game you were having a 3-way with Jill Valentine and Sheva, and now you're like this drunk in a bar in like Russia or something? Pull yourself together, man! Oh, he has amnesia. That makes perfect sense. What an original story device for a protagonist in a Japanese video game. And the third campaign follows series newcomer Jake, who's actually Albert Wesker's son. And this, of course, gives him awesome kung fu powers, an immunity to the C-virus, and tons of daddy issues. In terms of the actual gameplay, the mechanics are slightly different from any other Resident Evil because, oh my god, you can shoot and walk at the same time! The game tries to go for less of a, oh my god, zombies shoot 'em, and more of an action-y cover system that doesn't quite work because the cover mechanic is kind of wonky. And while the shooting's pretty good, the camera seems to want to focus in on like the back right shoulder of the character, so you don't get to see a lot of the screen. And oftentimes, especially with the Leon campaign, they try and go, ooh, dark and mysterious location, but what you really get is, hey, I can't see anything? There's also a bunch of different locations you'll visit, like you go to an American city and like some weird Eastern European city in China and... Wait, why are they at a playground? Oh my god, is he actually gonna... What? No way! I take back everything bad I ever said about this game. There's also some new enemies that you fight, like, obviously there's zombies that Leon fights that are more traditional, but with that you come with, like, the special infected, a la, like, Left 4 Dead kind of stuff. And in Chris and Jake's campaign, you focus on more of the Guarvo, however the hell you pronounce them, who are basically, like, people with guns who are also zombies. Which is kind of interesting because, like, when you shoot off one of their arms, they grow, like, an awesome tentacle arm, or you blow up their legs and they grow, like, moth wings for legs and fly upside down or something. And there's also all the boss battles that you would imagine, like, fighting a T-Rex zombie thingy-mabobber, or fighting giant flies, or all kinds of crazy nonsense. And when you beat a level, or the entire campaign, you get skill points, which you can use to, like, increase your damage against, like, the moth people, or against, like, the other kinds of zombies. The game focuses a lot on shooting, though for some reason has an incredible lack of ammunition lying around, especially at the harder difficulties. Thankfully, co-op is integrated to the game, so at any point you can drop into anyone's game or have anyone drop into yours and play with them, which makes the experience that much better. I'm always a big fan when games have co-op, especially when it feels like they need it, and this game, it felt like it was designed for co-op in mind. One of the only problems is associated with the QuickTime events, which I hate as a gameplay element, and they are all over this game. So not only do you have to deal with the press X repeatedly until your thumbs bleed unless you want to die gameplay that I hate, a lot of times when you're playing co-op with someone, it's basically, I have to stand there and watch you press X repeatedly and hope you do it right, otherwise we both die. The game honestly feels a little disjointed, like they're trying to grab at all kinds of things. They're trying to be Gears of War while also trying to be Resident Evil kind of, but more trying to be Dead Space a little bit. The end result is this sort of imperfect hybrid of, what's not really Resident Evil, but not really anything else. It's just kind of bland, but, not terrible.
If you can forgive the fact that this game is trying to be more like Gears of War than actually like Resident Evil, you can kind of find fun in this game. It's, you have to put a lot of time in, crawl through the muck of the crappy cover system and the terrible camera angles and all that stuff before you start to get into the fun and like, oh hey, I'm kind of enjoying this. You can be kind of an apologist like me and be like, no, this game's fun, I'm having fun, look at all the fun I'm having. But it's not the best Resident Evil game. It's probably not even the best one that came out this year, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it's a passable game. It's not god-awful, but it's not really Resident Evil anymore, but it's still kind of fun.
Boy, wasn't that one comprehensive review. It certainly was funny and informative. If I weren't me, I would like and favorite it, but you guys don't have to. But please, could you?